Hi there, and welcome to another edition of Quick Guides here on Bustthenet. On today's show, I'm going to look at a 4-3-1-2. Yes, one of my favorite tactics. I've used it for a long time, and anybody who's been following my YouTube streams, you'll know that this is one of my favorite setups. I literally turn to this most of the time in most of my tactics, and even way back in Championship Manager days, I'd always try to get my teams to play a 4-3-1-2. My love for the 4-3-1-2 started with watching Juan Roman Riquelme, one of the guys who actually gave meaning to the word playmaker, one of the greatest players ever to play in that position. So I grew to love that system, and it typified how some Argentinian teams used to play in the 90s, in the 80s, in the late 90s especially. So here we have a 4-3-1-2 that I've set up, and the whole goal of the 4-3-1-2 is, as we all know, is to dominate sides. The 4-3-1-2 has a very unique. It's very unique in the sense that it can exploit the middle, and it also can go down the flanks without you needing to go and use those shouts. And I don't like using exploit the middle or the exploit the flank shout. Why? Because there's a hidden instruction inside those shouts that actually reduce forward runs of players. So specific forward runs of players will be removed when you use those shouts. So I don't want them to be used. So when I don't use them, I get a lot more flow in my tactics. So I don't recommend using those shouts unless, for example, you don't have any. I mean, if you're using a 4-4-2 and you want to use look for overlap, do it. I mean, but if it's on fullback on attack with a central midfielder on support, he's going to overlap anyway. So I don't get the use of that shout. But that shout is there simply to make it easier for people to get what they want from the game. Now, anyway, back to this 4-3-1-2. The basic thing about the 4-3-1-2 that we have to remember is where are its strengths. The strengths come from the wing backs or the fullbacks. Now, the fullbacks are going to bomb down the flanks and they'll give it width. And if you don't use that, the 4-3-1-2 struggles. So you need to be able to set a 4-3-1-2 up so that you can exploit the flanks. In order for you to do that, you need at least fullbacks on support, or in this case, I've set up one which a wing back on attack. Now, this is a bit more extreme and it's a high risk maneuver. And sometimes I do this in matches when I go into a match and I go, okay, I'm going to start this match on wing back on attack. I'm going to push him up early, and then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So it's high risk. I would probably, for most people, I'd recommend you use fullback on support or fullback on attack. Wing back on attack, the only reason why he's there is because I want us to be able to support the AP up there, when we are doing the midfield transition. So I want Danilo Avila to be bombing forward early in our transitions so that we can get a lot of pressure on the AI. And that's the thing about the 4-3-1-2. You can put a lot of pressure on the air, but if you don't set it up correctly, you can also ask for pressure for yourself. The thing about the 4-3-1-2 is this. If you don't have fullbacks that are good at crossing the ball and getting down the flanks and beating players, then don't use this system because you're gonna ask for trouble. Because the weakness of the system is also the same thing that gives it its strengths, the fullbacks. Now your fullbacks have to get down the flanks. If they don't go down the flanks, then you are not going to get the width that you need to unlock defenses. The fullbacks, by running down the flanks, they draw players to them. The AP, by being around the area, he's going to draw players to him. So if you want to understand why drawing players is so important, I've done a video called Exploiting the Golden Zone. And for my patrons, I've also got one other video that's exclusively for patrons only, my player roles and duties. I use that to explain transitions with respect to duties. So you have to put these two together, and then you'll be able to generate the kind of movement that you want. Now, the one thing that the 4-3-1-2 area on the pitch, the 4-3-1-2 is also weak at, is right in the middle, where the DLP is positioned. The zone between where the DLP is and where the central defenders are. Now, that is an area, if a system is playing with an AMC, they can exploit it. So you gotta pay attention to your system. So one of the things I do is I actually either use a central midfielder on support and then set his PIs up to make him play like a ball-winning midfielder on support, or you simply just use the ball-winning midfielder on support. It makes things a lot easier. So you have two ball-winning midfielders on support and one DLP on defense. Here, actually, my DLP on defense, I need him to pass the ball. So I make sure that the ball-winning midfielders, both on the left and the right, they are set to play less risky passes and also pass it short, because I don't need these boys to go around creating havoc in the final third. I just need them to do the job of being an effective screen. Up front, I've got three players, and all three players, well, they all basically all of them on default. I don't add anything to their instructions. So DePaul doesn't have anything added. Paragini and Z Gomez, they don't have anything added except for my high block. My high block is the close down much more shot and the tackle harder shout. So I've got these two set up. So this is basically the system as it's set up, and with the goalkeeper, he distributes to the fullbacks. Now, as far as the shots are concerned, now the thing about the 4-3-1-2 is this: the 4-3-1-2 is a narrow system, right? And you really need to get those fullbacks to get involved in transitions. So to a large extent, here you're gonna have be dictated by shape as well. If you play on the lower shape settings like structure, highly structured, there will be more distinction between duties. So basically, when you're playing on defend duty and you got a group on support duty, if you play on structured shape, between defend and structured, there's more distinction between duties. So the defend guys and the support guys, they won't be working on the same wavelength. All right, the guys on defend, they will really concentrate on defending. The guys on support, they'll really concentrate on support. And I want less distinction. I want them to be involved in transitions together. There is a risk that the balls are going to be played over the top, and so here I want to make sure that I'm playing with a normal defensive line. I won't take the risk of pushing it higher. Since you're already fluid, there's going to be less distinction between duties, which does influence transitions. It means that I'm getting more players up during a transition. So my setup for the shouts are going to be shorter passing, because I want everybody to be on short passing except for my playmakers. Now, if you don't understand why, I've done a video called Creative Passing Styles. Again, patrons have an exclusive for this video. There's another video out for patrons. Please watch that. It'll explain why I use targeted passing styles. I also want to play out a defense. This is not really necessary because I'm already playing out a defense. Everybody at the back is playing less risky passes and short. Work ball into box, because I actually want work ball into box as a shout, even though I've got bombing for wing backs. But work ball into box will reduce the crosses and pass the ball around the opponent's half, so I can generate more possession. I'm going to use the offside trap, which I always do with a normal defensive line. I'm going to play on a slightly higher tempo because I want the ball to move through the transitions a bit faster. I want to prevent the goalkeeper from doing any ball distribution, so I'm expecting to see my three boys close down a bit, at least the final third. And then I assume I'm going to play much wider. This shot, I have to put it in. Why? The play much more wider shot encourages you to go down the flanks. And the problem with this system is, if you go into the tactical creator, you'll notice that they already don't have much width to the 4-3-1-2. So you're basically begging for more width. Please give me more width. So let's have a quick look at and see how this tactic actually does against a team in play. So here we have my Torino side are playing against a Lazio side, which is playing a 4-3-2-1, which is an annoying system. You can see my wing back has gone down the flanks and how they have attacked the final third. This is just off the kickoff, and I get what I need right off the start of the match. The wing back has gone forward, bombed up, and he's played a part in the final third transition. You can see the passing styles. I had my playmakers passing it. I had almost Baselli playing a long ball. He's not even the playmaker, but he's decided, why don't I just give it to the full wing back to bombing it across the penalty box. And you get that kind of movement when you have set up your passing triangles nicely. Here we have a throw. And again, I'm looking at things like, at this point in time, I'm looking in to see what my players are going to be doing. You can see DePaul, the two playmakers are working together, and this playmaker strings the ball all the way to the other side for this fullback to take advantage of it. Now, I'm using a fullback on support here, so he doesn't bomb down the flanks. Against the playmaker comes back in, and he starts to string passes together. Baselli, DePaul now runs in, looks for Paragini, and it's a great chance to score a second goal. I mean, this is like a half chance actually, but there's some movement inside the penalty box for us this time around. I'm not using the return possession shot, but we still generate like 75% possession inside the first 15 minutes of the game. Here, once again, you see the way the fullbacks support each other on the opposite flank. The wing back so high up the pitch, and with the advance forward, he's going to test the lines. When he does test the lines, it really puts a lot of pressure on the AI. The AI is no longer dumb piece of work. Okay, essentially you got to change things around. In this match, at about the 34th minute, the AI changed and it started going more attacking on Danilo Avala's flank. So I decided to turn my wing back into a fullback on support, so that we don't get out of position, because that's exactly how we conceded the first goal through a corner. I mean, we conceded the goal because we gave up a corner, and that came from them creating that opportunity by going down our left flank, and this was our second goal. Again, we got the width from our fullback on support. So this is something that you must be willing to do in your tactics. You have to be observant of what the AI is doing. In our particular case, the AI had gone more attacking on the flank where I needed my wing back to be an attack. So the moment I saw that, the 4-3-1-2, you have to be willing to step the duty down to support if you need to. So in this particular case, we did, as you can see from the image over there. So basically, this is my 4-3-1-2. I'll go through all the play instructions individually. And I want to apologize because at the top of the show I said there were no PIs for the guys in front, but they actually are. I forgot about it. Here, this is the wing back, passes shorter, few risky passes. Not very different from the guy on the right. He's playing dribble less, passes shorter, few risky passes. When I change into a fullback on support, I don't change the PI, stay the same. The two central defenders, no change, but Delhi he distributes to the fullbacks and rolls it out. In midfield, my two ball winning midfielders have exactly the same setup: shoot less often, dribble less, and fewer risky passes. In the center, my deep line playmaker, he's told to make more direct passes because I need penetration from him. In front, the other playmaker gets the same penetration PI, including move into channels, and his high block PIs, which are tackle harder and close out much more. Paragini as my DLF on support. Well, I've told him to dribble less because honestly, he can't dribble the ball. He always loses the ball. He tries to dribble and runs into traffic, then loses the ball. I've seen him do it too many times. So this is specific for him. And in attack, I've got Z Gomez. Now, Z Gomez, he is a beauty of a player. I tell you this. But he only has to do high blocks. So close down more and tackle harder. As far as the team instructions are concerned, I like this team to play it on fluid because I need enough in terms of the transitions. On fluid, there is less distinction between duties, so I can expect the more players to be closer together and to be supporting each other during the transitions. If I wanted to play this on a structured duty, then I probably will tell my fullbacks to be on support and also get them to play more risky passes so they can launch ICBMs from the back. Yeah, I love that too. And yeah, so in terms of the other shouts, I've already explained why I use them. I got the play wider shout, the normal shout, use offside, trap. These are all bulk basic standard. If you've been following my shows, you notice I use these nearly all the time. For this tactic, just remember these things. Fullbacks, they add width, get good ones, and they must be able to come back and defend. The two ball winning midfielders, you can choose a central midfielder and support if you want. There's no issue with that. Make sure they have work rate. That's really important. They have to work hard. They have to get in. They have to be determined. Then we have these guys up front here, these three. Well, these guys, they're going to be your boys that are going to score goals. So make sure these two chaps here, they have the intelligence to make those kind of passes. De Paul and Valdi Fury, they need to make those kind of passes. So if you're going to give them more direct passing, make sure they have decisions and passing. So these are the things they need to bear in mind when you set up this tactic. And I love the 4-3-1-2. And there are other variations of the 4-3-1-2, but this is one of the easier ones to create, and it's probably easy out of the box. There's nothing much need to do with it because most of the instructions are quite straightforward. For my patrons, you've already got the player roles and duties video. There's going to be a defensive line traps exclusive video coming for you guys, so don't forget to check your messages and please check in on the patron page for details on when this video is released. It should be released in the next couple of days. I'd like to thank all of you for supporting this channel, and I hope that you have found this video useful. If you have any questions, please look me on Twitter at Bustthenet or addicted2fm.com, and we will see you guys again soon. So please take care. Bye bye.